what was the first big moment in your career that happened and you were like, okay, uh, things are getting really big. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm really good at what I'm doing. And I, just want to proceed with that further. Was there a moment where just everything clicked for you and put your mindset in the right place in terms of being certain who you are and what you want to achieve?
Yeah, I think I was on tour with At the Drive-In, their very last tour they did in the United States. Mm-hmm. They did a tour like 3 months later in Australia, and that's when they broke up after the Big Day Out show. But about 3 months before, I was on the road as a tour manager for a Japanese band called Eastern Youth. And At the Drive-In invited Eastern Youth to go on that last tour on the West Coast with them. So we were out on that tour, and Rolling Stone magazine had just published an article about At the Drive-In like that week. And it was the big story that came out. And Bono from U2 had a quote like, "This is the band that's going to save rock and roll." Like, wow. Bono made that quote. So the venues were like, the shows all sold out already, but they were trying to bump the venues up to sell more tickets in each city. So the band At the Drive-In was blowing up as we were on this tour. And it was really exciting. And all this like media was coming out. And by the time we got to Los Angeles, we pulled up to the venue and it was a madhouse. There was like a bunch of press and media and, outside the venue as the bus rolled up. And it was, somebody mentioned that Bono was at the venue. He wanted to meet the band or something. It was like a rumor. I don't even know if it was true, but it was a madhouse there. And it was such a fun night because it felt like, I think it was the last show of that tour. And it felt like this, the band had sort of reached this peak. Mm-hmm. And it was super exciting. And I don't know, I just felt like this is what I want to do. I was watching a band hit their peak right in that moment. And I was like, I want to do this, like, for sure, 100%. And I think I quit my business job, like, when I got back from that tour. And that's when I started working for a couple different record labels. And and it's funny because I ended up working for At the Drive-In's record label probably 4 or 5 months later or something like that.
Wow, that's an amazing story. What would you say are the most important lessons that throughout your career you've learned and, that helped you to prioritize different important aspects of what you do? Like, are there any certain situations that you can pinpoint that really helped you to, significantly improve your understanding and just mentality towards what you do?
Yeah, there's so many lessons you learn along the way. Yeah. And I was learning as I was going. Mm-hmm. But I think don't give up. Mm-hmm. Don't give up until you've had 3 no's. Like, I was told you're not doing your job unless you get told no 3 times. And I think that came from my cold calling background. Mm-hmm. It's like, like you get hung up on. That's 1 no. So you call back and, you try to make conversation and you try to get a yes or a no and you get your no. And then you might try, like, let it go 2 weeks. You call back and say, "Listen, I know you said no, but something came up. I need to talk to you about it and just give me a chance. Can I set an appointment with you for 3 p.m. on Thursday?" And you get a yes. You don't give up. So you're never doing your job until you get 3 no's. Then to go with that, you have to ride the line between persistence and annoyance. And I don't think it's just the music industry. It's every line of work, every business. It is a relationship business. It's a people business. Mm-hmm. And you have to build relationships with people. And nobody likes somebody that's annoying. But also, you have to be persistent. You can't give up. So, like, people respect you if you are nice polite, you don't cross a line, but you constantly are in touch with them, giving them information, trying to get information, and then just build a friendship and a relationship. So I think those were like the best skills I learned. I should mention, I also drove a taxi cab the year after I graduated college, and I wanted to go for it. After I graduated college, I didn't want to go get a real job right away. I wanted to try my hand in the music business, and I wanted to be a touring musician, a drummer. And so it's just like the modern day of driving an Uber or driving for Uber Eats or something like that. And but I drove a taxi cab. And when I drove that taxi cab, I got to meet so many different people, like young people, old people, rich people, poor people, handicapped people, homeless people, drug addicts, strippers, regular, salary people, like just business people, anything in between. Like you learn to deal with lots of different people. And I think those people skills and learning to listen and talk to people, that's like I think my dad actually told me this, but you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, you make sure you listen to people. So I think those skills really helped me. Loose lips sink ships. There's trade secrets, there's business secrets, there's things that you don't want out there in the public. Those things can derail a project. So loose lips sink ships is another one. I think, well, there was another one that kind of goes along with it. But there's lots of those little business wisdom things that I really liked, and they would stick with me. Never treat everybody like they're going to be your boss. Like respect the interns, the assistants. I don't even like that word, assistant. I think it's derogatory. Like everybody on my team at Fearless was, of course, I can't say that everybody was equal because it's just not the way it works, but everybody was responsible for being a marketing professional. Like the graphic designer contributed. Hey, Keith, that was my graphic designer. Or not just him. There's so many of those guys, but they all like created really brought really good marketing ideas to things. Because in your design, you're a branding specialist as well. And branding is part of marketing. So I think there's so many little bits of wisdom there, that really I learned along the way that have helped for sure.
I think it's great that you're mentioning, persistence and being just dedicated to the process and, just being consistent with your efforts. I think, I'm sure you would agree, in the music industry, sometimes it's such an intense dynamic that sometimes people are getting into these moments where they lose their passion and they're losing their creativity at some point, and, are starting to hesitate towards their intentions to be involved in the music business, and, starting to think about other opportunities, other options, and so on. Have you experienced a moment like that? Have you been in a position where you've hesitated whether you want to continue in music, or it's always been a set thing?
No, for me, it's always been like one continuous like climb. There's been moments when I've thought, oh, I want to try something else. Like, but I was always sort of, choosing my own destiny. I felt like, I always, if I felt burnout or done with something, I would move on and just, cut ties, go to the next thing. And I think that comes from always wanting to work in my passion. Like, I chose this route. I chose to work in something I was passionate about, that wouldn't bore me or get old, So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I had many moments where I was like discouraged to the point where I wanted to quit or anything like that. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think just a real positive attitude, positive mental attitude, and trusting my abilities, trusting myself, not being afraid of failure. And I think that having faced so much failure as a musician, and being in such a tough business, it really it toughens you up, like, yeah. So I think musicians have that in them. If they get into the business place, any type of business, failure doesn't scare them. And in fact, I think business would feel easy coming from, music promotion.
I think that's such an interesting point in terms of, the importance of not being scared of failure, because you see how many people in different fields and in life in general, are limiting themselves and their options due to just being afraid of being, a failure, and afraid of being rejected, or afraid of being, not successful, whatever the case might be. So I guess this is, a very universal lesson for everyone,
Yeah.
And to this day, what gets you most excited about what you do, right? What's the thing that music business gives you in terms of a thrill, in terms of satisfaction, that you are most connected with?
I think it's simply when I see that artist turn the corner from, like hobbyist to, having a fan base, where it's like, there's just, they turn a corner when they don't have to like, beg for attention, where when they post something or release a new song or put up a new video, their community of fans like supports it, and it sort of takes on a life of its own. Or like when they make a little bit of money, when they put up a t-shirt and it profits and brings them in, some money, or they land that tour and they go out and they come home with a little bit of money, or they hit a milestone, like a big milestone of 1 million streams, or, they just, their fans sort of start to show up and they build that fan base. Or, a chart position. Like, I get excited about those things. I've always been very chart driven and numbers focused. I think that just comes from my sales background. So I think helping artists do that. I really love taking an artist that comes to me in very like humble form with, bad photography, bad graphic design, bad photos and videos, maybe even like a bad name, like really bad song titles, and they're just a mess. Like they're a complete mess. And I really like it when they learn those skills of branding and artist development, either from my academy or from coaching or something, and they clean it up. They take it to heart. They go out and they work with people that can get their quality level up. And then they come out and they have this like, it's like a makeover type situation. Like they get a makeover, and they come out and it's like, oh my God, like now they actually look competitive, and you can feel it. Like it looks like all they have to do is have a hit song, and then you could put that with their branding, and, they're off to the races. They can be successful. So I love when I see those sort of makeover conversions.
Yeah.